So how do you get your organization to stop just talking about compliance and start actually living it? Really make it part of your company's DNA. Well, today we're going to crack open the blueprint for exactly that. We're diving deep into ISO 37301. It's this amazing international standard that's all about building a rock-solid culture of compliance. So let's get into it and see how this thing can totally transform how your organization thinks about integrity.
But first, let's kick things off with a question that really should keep every leader up at night. What's the real cost when compliance goes wrong? What happens when things really go sideways? It's the kind of question that's easy to push aside, but as we're about to see, the answer is way more complicated and way more important than you probably think. Because, it's not just about paying fines. The standard itself talks about these massive attendant costs and reputational damage. Think about it like a single loose thread on a beautiful sweater. You pull it, and before you know it, the whole thing starts to unravel. That's what a compliance failure can do. It can take years of trust you've built up and just shred it in an instant. The stakes are just incredibly high.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to break it all down into 4 simple parts. First, we'll look at the risks. What happens when you get it wrong? Then, we'll get into what ISO 37301 actually is. After that, we'll break down its core pillars. And finally, we'll talk about the really good stuff, the actual business benefits for you.
All right, let's start with the risks. Before you can build a solid defense, you have to know what you're up against, right? So let's really dig in and look at the hidden dangers that are just waiting for a compliance slip-up.
It's kind of funny. A lot of companies operate on good intentions, but a compliance strategy that's just built on hoping for the best, that's like building a house of cards. It looks fine until the first gust of wind comes along, and then the whole thing just collapses. To build something that actually lasts, you need a real, solid foundation, not just wishful thinking.
So, what if you could move past that fingers-crossed approach? What if there was a proven blueprint for building a compliance culture that's not just a safety net, but a real competitive advantage? Well, that, my friends, is exactly where ISO 37301 comes into the picture.
So at the heart of this standard is the idea of building a compliance management system, or a CMS. And the absolute best way to think about it is like this. It's your organization's immune system, right? A good immune system doesn't wait to get sick. It's always on the lookout for threats, it neutralizes them, and it learns from them so it gets stronger over time. That is exactly what a great CMS does for your company.
Now, this is where the story gets really, really good. To get why ISO 37301 is such a big deal, you gotta know what came before it. The old standard, ISO 19600, was basically a list of nice suggestions. Here are some things you could do. But ISO 37301 completely changes the game. It moves from these vague guidelines to hard requirements. And that means your organization can actually get certified. You can prove to the world that you're walking the walk. It's a huge leap forward.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. The real genius of this standard isn't that it's a bunch of rigid rules. It's actually a flexible, living system that's all about getting better and better over time. It's not some static checklist you tick off once a year.
And the whole thing is built around a classic model that a lot of you probably already know, Plan, Do, Check, Act, or PDCA. The beauty of this is that it's not some weird, newfangled idea. It's a management model that has been tested and proven for decades across all sorts of industries. So by using this familiar framework, ISO made the standard way more practical and easier to actually put into practice. So let's just walk through it real quick. First, you plan. This is where you figure out all your obligations, you look at your risks, you get the lay of the land. Then you do. You actually put the controls in place. You get the right people and resources on it. Next up, you check. You monitor everything. You audit. You see what's working and what's not. And finally, you act. You take what you've learned, fix what's broken, and make the whole system even stronger. It's this powerful, continuous loop of improvement.
Now, you can have the most brilliant plan in the world. You can have the best processes, the tightest controls, but if you are missing this next piece, none of it matters. The standard is completely clear on this. Commitment from the very top. That is the absolute engine that drives this entire system. Without it, you're going nowhere. And look at this, the standard doesn't just say leadership is important and leave it there. Oh no, it gets super specific about who does what. You've got your top management, your C-suite, your board. They're responsible for the big picture, strategy, resources, and culture. Then you've got your compliance function. And notice the key words here. They need independence, authority, and a direct line to the top. This isn't an accident. This structure creates essential checks and balances to make sure everything is transparent and accountable.
Okay, so I know what some of you are probably thinking. This all sounds great, but man, it also sounds like a lot of work. Is it really worth it? And the answer is 100% yes. And the reasons why, the real bottom line benefits are actually pretty amazing.
Just imagine this for a second. Imagine a world where your company's reputation isn't just something you protect, it's something you actively grow, where you're not just dodging risks, but you're actually winning new business because partners and clients trust you completely. That's what this does. It turns compliance from a cost center into a powerful strategic asset that actually drives growth.
And you know, if there's one single sentence that sums up the entire philosophy of this standard, it's this one, right from its own introduction. Let that sink in. Integrity and compliance aren't some separate chore for the legal department. They are core elements of just being a well-run, smart, and successful company in today's world, period.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question to take back to your teams. And it's a simple one, but it's a powerful one. Are you guys just following rules and checking boxes? Or are you truly building a culture of integrity? With the blueprint from ISO 37301, that choice and that incredible opportunity is all yours.